Alright, so version 1.4 special program just ended, and my expectations were already really high, and somehow Hoyo actually managed to exceed my expectations in every single aspect. I got a lot of new gameplay, we got a lot of gameplay changes, a lot of quality of life features, of course 2 new limited agents with some extra surprises for you, and of course the usual, a lot of new events with gameplays. And it's over everything. Try to sum up everything in this video to share my thoughts and opinions on everything that they shared on this special program. That it was definitely quite huge. Let's jump straight into the limit characters, because usually that's exactly what most players are looking for when they come to a new version. And the very first surprise is that Hoyo is actually giving a free copy of Harumasa to every single player. And this is actually quite huge because Harumasa is an S rank unit plus all the materials to upgrade any unit all the way to level 40. So resources for free plus a free unit. I would say that right now is one of the best moments for you to come back into the game. There's also a second surprise here, and it's about the banner cycle. Usually we get 2 cycles, where the first 3 weeks we have the first limited unit, and the last 3 weeks of a patch we're going to get the second limited unit. However, this time we decided to make both Harumasa and Miyabi available from day 1 of patch 1.4. And this is quite huge, it's going all the way to the end of the 1.4, but of course there's a little bit of a catch here. And the catch is that instead of the usual 6-week patch, we're only getting a 5-week patch. Enough talking about these surprises, and let's go straight into the banners. Miyabi banner is going to offer you Piper and Sokaku as A rank units. Not a huge fan of this one, but Harumasa banner is going to offer you Lucy and Seth as A rank units. But usually you're not going to pull for A rank units, and they're only going to pull for S rank units. So let's dive straight into these units, and starting with Miyabi, because I know that you are waiting. I am waiting for her. Miyabi is finally coming into Zenless Zone Zero, and I'm owling for it because look at her animations, it definitely looks insane. So the very first thing that I want to talk about is that despite the weird icon that they showcased back once they revealed her, she's still ice related. The thing here is that she's not exactly ice, she is a frost unit. She's still going to apply freeze on the enemy, she's still going to shatter the enemy, but there's also an extra debuff that she applied called Ice Burn. And once you apply frost on the enemy, if the enemy has Ice Burn, you're going to trigger Frost Burn, and this is going to deal a burst of damage to them. Plus, they are also going to take increased anomaly buildup from any other source. Miyabi also has a charged basic attack that requires you to use some charges. So basically you want to stack a full 6 charges and then unleash a fully charged basic attack on the enemy to deal a huge amount of frost damage into them. You can get charges whenever you use your EX special, whenever you apply Frostburn on the enemy, whenever you use your ultimate as well. There's plenty of ways for you to gather charges for Miyabi. Another really interesting point on Miyabi is her additional ability, which is definitely a must for you to activate. You need a support unit or a faction member in order to activate this additional ability. And the additional ability is going to increase your charged basic attack damage by quite a lot. Not only you're getting a lot of damage on it, you're also going to ignore enemy ice resistance when activating it. So I would say that it's definitely a must. If you don't activate her additional ability, you're going to lose a lot of damage on her charged basic attack. And also you're going to be losing some extra charges, because whenever you trigger Disorder, you're going to get 2 extra charges for her basic attack. So this basically means when you come to think about how the Frostburn increasing build up, all the Disorder mechanic, Miyabi is definitely designed to be played with another anomaly unit. And since it requires both either a support or faction member, I would say that sadly, Lighter is not going to be a best unit to pair with her. Kinda sad, but it is what it is. Maybe Miyabi is not looking for stunners in your team and is only going to be looking for increased damage potential for both anomaly units. Anyway, super solid, met my expectations, but what didn't met my expectations, actually exceeded my expectations, is Harumasa. Harumasa is going to be given for free, so look at this whole move set. It's definitely way better. I wasn't expecting this. When I saw like it's a unit with a bow, oh, how boring using a bow to hit the enemies. Harumasa is going to be a hybrid in between ranged and melee character because he also uses his bow to deal melee damage to the enemy. And what is quite fun is that you're probably going to be playing a lot around his trap mechanic, because whenever you use your EX special, your chain attack, there's a lot of different ways for you to trigger this. You're going to leave traps on the field. You can use your charged base attack to use these traps and mark down enemies and also deal damage to them. Then once there's a marked enemy on the field, you can use your dash attack to deal these powerful slashes with electric damage to them. So really interesting kit, really smooth gameplay here. A lot of ability on the map, I'm loving it. But the most interesting thing is actually his additional ability that is not going to require the usual faction or at least same attribute in your team. You're going to need either a stun or anomaly unit in your team. So Harumasa ends up being quite flexible when it comes to team compositions, because you can go, for example, for a mono electro team using Grace in order to maximize your shock damage. But you can also go, for example, for a hyper carry Harumasa using a stunner and a support unit. So a lot of flexibility here. I really love how it's decided to go for this. And it's going to be free. Look at all of this for free into your account. So I'm really loving it, way beyond my expectations. The next thing, let's talk a little bit about the new things that they are adding, mainly for the new players or returning. So one of the very first things that a lot of players complained way back into the 1.0 was about the TV mode. And they are adding right now into 1.4 a reworked version of the main story. Instead of using the TV to move around the map, you're going to be controlling EOS. And look at how fun it actually looks. Super exciting now that there's no more TV. And finally, another really neat feature, especially for new players, is this new upgrade planner that they're adding. It can help you decide either you're going to upgrade the basic attack, special attack, things like this, so you can invest your resources properly in the better way for your unit. So looking really good for returning players, and I would say once again that right now is the best moment for you to come back to the game. If you never played the game, right now is also a good moment for you to start playing the game. In any case, let's talk about the new content that we're going to get in the 1.4. We're going to get the main story once again. We're going back on track with the main story, finally, because as I said before, 1.1 and 1.3 kind of feels like a spin-off. We had a little bit of good information on the 1.2, but it still doesn't tie that well with the 1.0 story. Now, they're going to be tying everything up. From the 1.1 all the way to the 1.3, everything's going to be tied up back into the story that we had in the 1.0. The next huge thing that they are adding into the game is 2 new disc sets. The very first one is called Branch and Blade Song, and the second one is called Astral Voice. Both looks quite neat, and you can probably see that based on the image here on the disc, that the first one is going to be for Miyabi. The 2-piece set is going to give you crit damage, which is kinda interesting for an anomaly unit. And then the 4-piece set is going to give you even more crit damage and then crit rate whenever you apply freeze or shatter on the enemy. A lot of crit values here, so really interesting. The second one is going to be a bit of a supportive disc. The 2-piece set is going to give you attack, and the 4-piece set is going to give you up to 24% damage whenever a unit in your team uses Quick Assist. And this means that units like Bernice who get to trigger Quick Assist on her ultimate, units like Seth who also gets Quick Assist once you use your enhanced basic attack, and of course all the support units will all be really valuable for you to make the maximum of this kit. So really interesting this set here. I would probably use this a lot when compared to Proto-Punk or Swing Jazz. We're also getting 2 new Bangboos. We're going to get Agent Gulliver, the Section 6 Bangbo, aka FBI Boo. And we're also going to get Brawler Boo, which is going to be an A-rank Bangbo that is going to be given for free as an event reward. So lastly, not exactly a new content, but you also remember that they be adding some units that you can change to walk around the city. So right now in the 1.4, they are finally adding all the rooster into the game, so you can walk with any unit that you own around the city. Even Ben, they finally showcased Ben running around the city, and I don't know how this is going to work because his model is so big and he's also so slow. I'm definitely never using Ben. It's fun, but holy crap. Anyway, let's talk about some new gameplay changes, new game modes that we're getting in the 1.4. So the very first thing that they're finally adding is the removal of shared decibels. Now every single agent is going to have their own decibels gauge, and I know that this has some mixed feelings on the community because my video on the 1.4 expectations had a lot of comments saying about how this could basically make this game a Genshin as well. Look, I don't know how they are going to make this into the game. They didn't go too deep when talking about these changes, optimization, balance features, but they said that they will definitely try to balance things out and optimize how it's going to work. So I don't think it's going to feel like a Genshin, and I personally really like the idea of finally being able to use a stunner ultimate, for example, because it used to feel so useless. Why do I have a ultimate on my stunner if I never going to use it? Getting this individual decibels is way more interesting. I don't know how they're going to balance things out, but I don't think it's going to feel like a Genshin because the whole combat is way different than Genshin. So next up, we have a new chapter, let's call like this, for QoL Zero. And this one actually looks really interesting. We're not talking about arpeggio, for example, because arpeggio was super boring because there was no replayability on this mode. Everything felt so weird, so clunky, and the new mode looks really amazing. And the extra content that they are adding on this new QoL Zero looks super amazing because they are adding a whole new set of Resonion, they are adding a lot of new items for you to collect. But I think that the most interesting thing here is actually giving new move sets for some units. Ellen is getting a new slash after her basic attack string, and the Yennefer is getting a super EX special cast. So adding these new moves just for specific game modes looks quite insane for me, but I'm definitely all in for it because it looks amazing. Next up, we have a new rotating game mode, and this is also an end game. It is going to be rotating just like Shield Defense. Every 2 weeks is going to rotate, and of course this is going to reset the rewards for you. As you can see here, you're going to need a total of 3 teams if you want to go over all the challenges. However, you don't need to go through all the challenges. You need a total of 6 stars in order to get all the rewards. So if you manage to hit 3 stars on the 2 first one, you're going to get all the rewards for you. The thing here, and what I find the most interesting point here on this new game mode, is about how they are going to calculate your points. Because this time it's not only about your DPS, not about killing the enemy as fast as possible. It's about dodging enemy moves, it's about doing assists, it's about way better gameplay. They are kind of measure also how smooth is going to be your gameplay, and it's not only going to be looking to your damage. So getting things like this is way better than pure DPS check. I'm super excited for this one, and I'm looking forward to get this new game mode. Also, since it's a new game mode, new rotating game mode, it means more rewards for players. And the last huge addition on the 1.4 is about trust events. They mentioned before that they were adding a thing called quality time, which is kind of a date with the agent you're picking. So as you can see here, you're finally going to be able to call them, and you're going to roam around the city with them. They're going to follow you, and you're going to get some extra trust from them just by spending some extra quality time with them. So this looks really, really good. I find it way better than just the usual trust events that we have right in the game right now. Let me know in the comments down below which unit you're going to spend a lot of quality time. Because if I end up getting Miyabi, well, Miyabi is probably going to be the one, but there's also Jane, there's also Yanagi. I would say Nicole, maybe. I don't know if Nicole enters in my quality times list, but we're going to see. And of course, there's the usual lot of events that they add on every single version. There's the usual temples that they've been giving ever since the 1.0. Of course, double drops, so more materials for you. So one of the events that we're going to get is Into That Pale Wasteland. And this one looks kind of fun. It's mainly a Section 6 trial mode from what I can see here. But still, you're going to have plenty of exploration, use EOS, the same way that they are adding into the new story quest for new players or returning players. And the map exploration looks kind of fun. There's going to be puzzles for you to play around. Of course, there's going to be combat as well. But I think that the main thing here is the reward, and because they are going to give you a free engine when you finish this event. Next up, we're going to have our Arc Knights game mode. I mean, a tower defense game mode, but it's basically a tower defense where you're going to be using Bangboos to be clearing up the enemies through the map. So kind of fun, really looking forward. I love when they decided to make this random gameplay, add this unique mini games into Zenless Zone Zero. And of course, also a bunch of other events. I don't think it's worth going over every single one of them. There's plenty of events for you to get a lot of rewards through the whole 1.4. Remember that 1.4 is going to be 1 week shorter on duration. So, well, that's definitely a lot of rewards in a short time. So yeah, that's everything about 1.4. Such a huge update. It was even hard for me to try to sum up everything on this single video without making it super long. But in any case, so let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about the 1.4, because this update looks super insane. We didn't get reruns, and this is quite sad because I was really expecting either an Alien rerun or a Juyo 1 rerun. We're not getting both, probably on the 1.5. So once again, really hope new players who decided to drop the game can give another chance, because 1.4, it feels like a whole new game. Let's face the fact, it feels like a whole new game. It's basically the true 1.0. We are finally launching the game, guys. That's exactly how 1.4 feels for me, because they are changing way too much. They are listening to feedback, and I am all in for it. In any case, enough babbling. This video was long enough already. Remember to join my Discord server, where we talk about a lot of different things on Zenless Zone Zero, and of course other games as well. And as usual, thanks for watching, have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in my next video.